Hello, my name is Maya Fidelman, and I would like to talk about the American Jewish contribution to the establishment of the State of Israel back in 1948. Let me just start by saying that it is so much important to recognize the mutual relationship between Israel as a state and its diaspora, and in particular the diaspora in the United States, where the Jewish community is the largest and was the largest back then, before the establishment of the State of Israel. In 1948, on May 14th, David Ben-Gurion, the Israeli Prime Minister, stood in Tel Aviv and read the Declaration of Independence. And on the same day, President Truman stood in New York at the UN, the United Nations, and read the United States' supportive declaration of the establishment of Israel. That actually recognition came in spite of the American Diplomatic Corps' decision to support Israel back then, and was caused by a mutual relationship between President Truman and a Jewish man called Eddie Jacobson, who actually convinced President Truman to meet with Dr. Chaim Weizmann, a meeting that actually led to that recognition. We can say that the American Jewry was very supportive of the recognition of Israel, and actually they were very, very supportive in that, in terms of buying goods from Israel and trying to support Israel everywhere they could, among leaders, among American other Jewish American organizations and other non-Jewish American organizations, and also to realize that Israel as a state and as the establishment of the Zionist movement can serve as a home for the Jewish people every time they need, and was actually built under the recognition and the realization that after the Holocaust and the massacre of 6 million Jewish people, we should find and we should establish a home for the Jewish people. So basically, we can see within this example of Eddie Jacobson and other very important Jewish people in the United States, how the power of the individual and the community can actually affect decision makers at the federal level, and actually cause and make a difference. And within that, I think that it's also important to mention the establishment and the recognition of Balfour Declaration in 1917 that was supported by President Wilson back in 1916, and the support of Wilson and the recognition, the President Wilson, and the recognition of the State of Israel was actually a process of mutual relationship between him and Jewish figures such as Brandeis and other rabbinical and rabbis in the United States that support the old Yishuv back in the 19th century, and was very worried about the Jews that lived under the Ottoman regime. So within that, you can see that also throughout history, and especially when the United States act a non-intervention policy that was started in 1923, back in Monroe Doctrine, when President Monroe said that the United States should not interfere in everything that has to do with the Middle East. We can see that in spite of that non-intervention policy, the United States eventually acted in favor of the Jewish people and in favor of the establishment of the Israeli state. And that action and that switch with rhetoric was also caused by forces within the Jewish community that lived in the United States. Thank you very much.